It is 2 in the morning, and you have ordered yourself to sleep. You commanded your mind to go quiet, and it answered by growing louder. The harder you reach for rest, the further it slips from your hands. You have done everything right. The dark room, the slow breathing, the app counting your breaths. And still you lie there, gripping the edge of the blanket, angry you cannot even rest correctly. Let me tell you about a woman who lay where you lie now. Her name was Mika, and she lived in the city, in a small apartment above a street that never fully went dark. For 3 years she had worked the way the city asks, quickly, constantly, until no soft edges were left to her days. One Friday, too tired to think, she rode a train past the last of the buildings, until the houses thinned into hills, the hills became mountains, and at the end of a long valley she reached the small house where her grandmother still lived. Her grandmother opened the door without surprise, as if she had only been waiting. She took one look at Mika's face and asked nothing. She set out hot rice and warm tea, and when Mika began to apologize for the late hour, only shook her head. "Eat," she said, "then sleep. The mountain will still be here in the morning." Then she went early to her own room, as country folk do. The house was quiet in a way the city never was. Mika set down her bag and stood listening, and the silence almost frightened her. She had come all this way to rest. She had even written rest on her list, to finish and cross off before Monday. She had saved the calming sounds and the gentle voices, read that she must breathe in for 4 and out for 6. She had tried every method for being at peace, and one by one each became only another thing she was failing at. That first night she lay on the old futon and waited for the deep country quiet to mend her. "Sleep now," she told herself. "You are safe here. Sleep." And her heart raced, as it always did the moment she ordered it to slow. She turned over, and over again. She counted her breaths and lost the count. The more fiercely she chased the stillness, the faster it fled until she sat up in the dark, certain that something inside her was broken. She rose and slid open the door to the garden, hoping the cold night air might tire her. And there, just below the house, lay the small pond her grandmother tended, black and smooth as glass. On its surface, perfect and round, floated the full moon. It was so still, so whole, that without knowing why, Mika knelt and reached out both hands to take it. She wanted to hold that quiet roundness, to carry a little of that peace back inside. Her fingers touched the water. The moon shattered at once into 100 trembling shards and slid away between her hands. She grasped again, faster, and again it broke. The harder she reached, the more the moon dissolved. "You will not catch it that way, child." The voice was soft. Her grandmother stood at the edge of the garden, woken by the splashing. She did not laugh. She only looked calmly at the churning water. "You have stirred the whole pond," her grandmother said gently, "and now there is no moon left to catch, only mud." Mika looked down. Where the moon had floated was now a dark, swirling cloud of silt she had raised with her own grasping hands. "Sit by me," her grandmother said, kneeling beside her on the stone. "Take your hands out of the water." Mika wanted to tell her she had come all this way to do something, but she was too tired to argue and drew her hands back to rest, dripping on her knees. So they waited. Nothing was asked of her. The silt drifted downward, grain by grain, with no help from her hands, and slowly, the way light seeps back into a room at dawn, the water grew clear again, and dark and smooth. And there, without her reaching, without her earning it, the moon returned, whole, resting on the surface as though it had never gone, as though it had only been waiting for her hands to grow still. Mika did not move. She watched the moon lie quietly on the water and felt something in her chest let go, something she had gripped for 3 years without knowing she held it. She was not making this calm. She was only allowing it. The moon was always there, her grandmother said softly and let a hand rest on Mika's hair. It was never yours to catch, child, only yours to stop disturbing. She rose and walked quietly back to the house, and Mika stayed at the water's edge a long while, breathing, asking nothing of her breath. You who lie awake tonight, commanding your own mind to be still, you are reaching into the water with both hands. The rest you are chasing cannot be seized. Take your hands out of the water. Sit, be still, and let it clear. The moon will come back on its own.